Silly butts, we back. Let's get it. Hey, my bad too. To the people that was in the comments that let me know, basically, like y'all couldn't hear anything. Told y'all let me know to shut up. So from now on, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna start pausing the videos, give my 2 cents, and we gonna get back into it. A lot of these videos be long though, y'all. Y'all sure y'all want me to do that? Man, are y'all sure y'all want me, man, leave some in the comments. Are y'all sure y'all want me to pause every time y'all want me to drop some comments and some my 2 cents? Like, I don't think y'all really want me to do that, because sometimes I start talking too much. And, like, the only time I can stop talking is if somebody in the background in the video, like, tone me back in. Like, I'm talking too much right now. Let's get to it, silly butt. Come on. DtaeNoDinero. Come on. Let's get it.
Sometimes, looks can be really deceiving. She was around high school age when she became an assassin. She lived 6 years on the run. Every turf war would result in a massacre. When we talk about narcos, we usually think of people like Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, we hit the
ruthless men surrounded by a fleet of loyal, aggressive soldiers. But what if I told you some of the most dangerous narcos in South America were actually women?
I'm talking of the women who stood by dangerous drug barons through their most volatile moments. The ones who ran whole divisions
Don't sleep on these females now, y'all.
Ruthless enough to overthrow and run the cartels themselves.
Let that innocence go to your head.
If you're surprised, that's fair.
You'll be fooled.
After all, it's men who are usually associated with war. Zainab Salbi said of women, like life, peace begins with women. We are the first to forge lines of alliance and collaborate across conflict divides. But what happens when women take arms? Let's look at some of the most dangerous female narcos in history. This is La Catrina.
And I just want to let y'all know right now, Latrina, she was in that clown video. The clown video on my channel. They talk about Latrina. I'm telling you, boys, she was tearing some shit up, man. Hey, y'all want to go tap in with that? It's actually one of my most highest viewed videos since I started doing DtaeNoDinero React. So, man, go tap in with that. If y'all haven't already tapped in with that, y'all should be hit with Latrina, too. If y'all been here and following me this whole time. Let's get back to it. I told you I would pause the video.
She led a notorious hit squad that left a bloodbath behind everywhere they went. Maria had humble beginnings. She was the daughter of a rancher and a housewife. She grew up in the city of Tepelcatepec, but she knew she didn't want to stay there for too long. She hated school, and she never wanted to pursue a regular life. In 2017,
everybody hates school.
She ran off from home and started living with a member of the Jalisco New Generation cartel.
I told y'all she ain't a clown.
Maria had fallen in love with Miguel Fernandez, who was a high-ranking narcotics baron. But Maria didn't join the cartel out of love for a man. She did so out of love for fame and money. Within months, she climbed up the cartel ranks and started making the big bucks. And as soon as she did so, she started showing it on social media too. Before long, she took the name La Catrina, a hats off to the famous day of the dead festival figure. La Catrina became a part of a gang of Sicarias, young pretty women soldiers who used their beauty and
I gotta tap in with that video
to lure and kill members from the rival gangs. But as Maria wanted to continue climbing the ranks, she soon became the leader of her team. Then she became the commander of a hit squad. She and her squad were responsible for several assassinations, extortions, and kidnapping. In October 2017, Mexican police were executing a warrant at a home when they were ambushed by La Catrina squad. It was a massacre. After they killed 13 officers and injured many others, the squad set 2 police cars on fire.
Damn!
The message was clear. They wanted war with the police, and La Catrina felt invincible. But the officers heard her voice when she was giving orders to kill. Then they knew she was responsible for the attack, and they knew they had to get to her. On January 10, 2020, the National Guard received a tip about La Catrina's location. They didn't waste any time. The officers surrounded the squad's safe house, and a violent shootout ensued. Except this time, It was the squad that took the hit.
Tranquila, mija, ya viene el helicóptero por ti. Ya viene el helicóptero. Tranquila, hija, tranquila. Vas a estar bien.
But La Katrina had been shot in the jugular.
Damn.
She was taken to the helicopter while all her men were put down on their knees and cuffed. But age 21, Maria Lopez died inside the helicopter after she lost a lot of blood.
She was only 21?
Easy go. This is Sandra Avila Beltran.
Before we get started with Sandra, man, hey, La Katrina, man, hey, I ain't gonna cap to y'all, bro. They gave a little bit more insight about her in the other video. Like I said, man, it's on my channel called like the second largest Mexican cartel, CJNG, bro. The clown, it got a clown thumbnail, man. Hey, listen, man, they crazy, and as y'all clearly can see, they hired them little females. You feel me, to do their little job, and the females was even crazy. So that should just tell you how that video gonna go for you if you ain't seen it yet. But yeah, let's go ahead and tap back in with the video, man. Let's see what Sandra talking about, man. Like Katrina though, yeah, she was a dog, man. And she's only 21, bro. Her whole life was just like really movie. Like only 21. Like when you turn 18, that's when you really become an adult. Like, oh wow, down there I don't really know. Like they probably start doing adult stuff at an early age in them type of country, third world, you know what I mean, country type shit. But anyway, let's get back to it.
She led a life filled of crime and tumultuous relationships. And it all culminated with one huge move that brought her down. Sandra didn't really have a chance at a normal life. She was practically born into the Sinaloa cartel. Her mother's family were notorious heroin smugglers. Her father, Alfonso Alvilla Quintero, was the brother of the Guadalajara cartel leader, Rafael Caro Quintero. Sandra grew up in the 1960s, watching cold-blooded men do transactions and tough negotiations, and resort to violence whenever words weren't convincing enough. This was the language she knew from a very young age. By 13, she was her dad's official money counter, and at the same age, she witnessed a massive shootout.
Damn!
Sandra went on to study journalism at a prestigious university, but her colleagues remember her as a very withdrawn, always suspecting person. However, this was just her school persona. When she was 21, Sandra started dating Armando Carrillo Fuentes.
Before we keep going, man, I feel like kids that go through trauma at an early age become more curious of the world. Because it's like so hard for them to believe that whatever it is that caused them to see that trauma is a real thing. Hey, I don't know. That's my little insight though on that. That's what I kind of took from it. Let's get back to
The
it.
boss of the Juarez cartel. Around the
Juarez
same
cartel.
time, she became a prominent figure in the Sinaloa cartel, overseeing illegal substance shipments to the U.S. Her relationship with Fuentes didn't last a long time, but she would have many more, and her two marriages would be more tactical than romantic. But her husbands were ex-police commanders turned traffickers. These men knew the ins and outs of the Mexican police world, and their insights helped her dodge the law and become a huge figure when it came to substance smuggling. Ironically, both of her husbands were stabbed to death by hired assassins. Another one of her rumored lovers was El Chapo himself. No one knows just how romantic their relationship was, but one thing's for certain.
Two of her husbands got stabbed to
They
death,
were
and her
once very
third was
close,
locked up in a
and
supermax
Sandra
prison.
was head of public relations for the Sinaloa cartel. Then Sandra had yet another tumultuous affair. Juan Diego Espinoza Ramirez, also called the Tiger. The Tiger had strong...
This girl was a thought. I ain't gonna cap to you. She was going around from boss to boss. Hey, but listen, I don't live in the female world, so I don't know how self-empowering it is for women to sleep around. I guess that must really be self-empowering for women to sleep around from boss to boss to boss to boss. So hey, what's up? I ain't gonna hate on her. She got her money, so that's what we do over here in the streets. You get money, her ass, we don't care. As long as you get money, B. So she get money, we don't care.
On connections to the Norte del Valle cartel in Colombia. This was just the open door she needed. Through Sandra, Colombian and Mexican cartels were now united, and she was making more money for Sinaloa than ever before. In 2001, the U.S. seized a tuna fishing boat transporting 9 tons of white snow. Imagine how many more actually came into the country before the DEA finally caught on to them. After this incident, Sandra got her
9
nickname,
tons.
the Queen of the Pacific.
She had 9 tons.
She also
9
got
bricks.
hundreds of officers on her tail, working hard
Wow.
to arrest her and bring down the Sinaloa cartel. She lived 6 years on the run and suffered the kidnapping of her son as a result of her violent means of negotiation. Finally, in 2007, she
Damn.
was arrested.
Tu nombre, por favor.
Sandra Ávila Beltrán.
¿De dónde es originaria?
Tijuana, Baja California.
When the officer asked her what business she was in, she said clothing. Even though she was convicted and sent to prison for life, she remained adamant that she shouldn't be there. Then she complained about insects in her cell and arranged for prime conditions, food, alcohol, and cigarettes to her liking. When she was denied restaurant-made food, she claimed her basic rights were being violated. In 2015, she was released and is now living in Guadalajara.
Damn, she got out.
This is Jocelyn Alejandra Nino. She was a young cartel assassin with a harrowing story. Jocelyn's life began like many others. She was born in the 1990s to a relatively poor family in the Tamaulipas in northeastern Mexico. It's unclear whether her family has ties to the local cartels or whether their financial situation pushed her towards the illegal side of work. But from a very young age, Jocelyn became an active member of the Gulf Cartel. In fact, she was around high school age when she became an assassin for them. This is around the time she earned her nickname, La Flaca. In English, this means the skinny one. As you can see, she was quite a tiny person compared to the huge firearm.
All these girls start off at an
But
early
in
age.
Mexican tradition, La
just feel like they
Flaca
get
is
taken
also
advantage
a
of.
female skeleton saint, Our Lady of Holy Death, who is sometimes depicted in artwork for the popular Day of the Dead festival. You might think, hey, it sounds pretty badass to be an assassin at age 18, but there's nothing cool about it. First of all, La Flaca took many lives under the instruction of her even more ruthless bosses. Second of all, life in the cartel is not that glorious. It's not known exactly how La Flaca climbed the ranks and made it to assassin so soon, but most girls like her, young, petite girls from impoverished backgrounds, started out by being lookouts for the gang or even illegal street workers.
Yeah,
they get
man.
treated and mistreated in every way
I knew it.
imaginable
They
before
get taken
gain
advantage
some
of.
authority.
Then
And
they
even
jump- then they get into that
it's not
shit.
all fame and money. This all became all too clear in January 2015. On January 5th that year, someone leaked this picture of La Flaca to Valor por Tamaulipas, a citizen journalist page meant specifically for organized crime leagues. The picture quickly made it to Facebook and Twitter. People were fascinated by this small young woman with a friendly smile. It stood in pretty stark contrast to her bulletproof vest and big firearm. Who was she? Was she a big shot in the gang or just a foot soldier? Another thing that stood out and earned this photo a lot of attention was its background. Indeed, La Flaca's room didn't look anything like the luxurious villas we see in Narcos. Is this the true reality of cartel living? Is it really worth the risk of losing your life? And is
That's
it really
tough.
worth
That's a good
taking
question.
life if you're gonna live in poverty anyway? It seems like only the very few top dogs get to live luxuriously, while their employees only ruin their lives for them. La Flaca's picture was a window into the tragic reality of Mexican cartels. The photo got thousands
But
of
they
likes
love it down
online,
there.
But this was the beginning of the end for
So
Jocelyn.
keep going.
She was a member of the Los Ciclones gang, led by Angel Eduardo Prado Rodriguez, aka Ciclone 7. At the time, they were at war with another gang, Los Metros. By leaking photos of the Ciclones members, Los Metros weakened the cartel and exposed these people,
Damn.
making them easy targets for the police as well as the rival gangs. And La Flaca was indeed a very easy target. Ciclone 7 sent her to fight Los Metros from Rio Bravo, which was Los Metros' territory. So every day, there was a death sentence for her, and eventually, she met a truly gruesome end. On April 13, 2015, police officers discovered her dismembered body inside a freezer in a parking lot in Matamoros, Tamaulipas. Throughout the day, the officers kept finding more body pieces scattered across town. Some were inside plastic bags. La Flaca was only identified thanks to her distinctive tattoo. She'd written Niño on her arm. This was her family name, but it also meant child. It's a sad irony that this was what was left of her. She really was a child when she died, somewhere between her late teens and early 20s. And to make things even more tragic, the autopsy confirmed that she had also been tortured first, as Los Matros were trying to get information about Los Ciclones' other members. La Flaca was killed together with another woman and a man. In a final gruesome act, Los Matros took pictures of their dismembered bodies and posted them on social media with the caption, "This will happen to all the filthy who support Los Ciclones.
Oh
Keep
my
sending
God.
these fucking assholes." Violence only leads to violence, and the Mexican drug cartels are no peaceful place. This is Melissa Margarita.
Hold on. Before we can get to going into Melissa, man, Margarita. I know y'all love y'all margaritas, and I just did this video on a Friday, so some of y'all out probably about to be having a drink tonight. But before we get started with the margarita, let's talk about that. Let's not let that go over our head. He said some, hey man, he said some real stuff. Do it really be worth it, man? Look at her background, like the picture. Yeah, you see her holding a gun, and it looks so fun when you're rebellious, and you're on this big rebellion against whatever it is that you're against, and woohoo! But did you see the background? Point that out. Key factor. A lot of people's backgrounds of their real life is fucked up. But second thing, damn, the way they found her, woo. I don't know, man. Sometimes I just don't think it's worth it when I be watching these videos. But we gonna keep watching them though, man. Cause hey, man, this shit be interesting, man. I can't cap.
Calderon Ojeda, aka La China. She was the commander of a cartel army that was so violent, it shocked her soldiers, her male colleagues, and her boyfriends. Sometimes looks can be really
Yeah, she
deceiving.
look good right there.
Melissa Ojeda was born on August 12,
The Leo.
1984 in Mexico.
Shout out to the Leos.
By the time she was 20,
My Brody
she had
one.
already decided her fate. She was going to be a cartel leader, and she was going to do whatever she needed to get there. Melissa joined the Sinaloa cartel back in 2005, more precisely, the Damaso cartel, a subdivision of the Sinaloa. She was ruthless and ambitious, and she didn't care that most of the criminals around her were men. She could be just as aggressive, and when it came in handy, she also used her feminine charm as a way to climb up the ranks.
That
By
answers my question
2008,
from earlier.
La China was commander of the armed unit, and while she was commander, the rate of crime in the area went up several times. She had a thirst for blood that was shocking even to the violent criminals in her gang. She would kill cops, kidnap people for extortion, and dismember enemies from rival gangs. Imagine that.
He's saying imagine that because it's coming from a woman, a pretty one, that you'll see smiling at you, you know, give you that innocence vibe whole time. She getting people dismembered. She extorting people and kidnapping you if you don't pay. And she got soldiers willing to do anything for her. Ooh, dangerous game out there when you can't see the true picture for who people really are.
China
Hey,
and her
let's get it.
unit were
Silly
responsible
butt.
for at least 178 deaths. Whenever her men would have a successful mission, leaving bodies behind, that is, she would reward them with big bags of white powder. But in 2014,
We always talk about
things
big
took a
bags of
turn
white
for the
powder.
worse when the Damaso cartel leader El Grande killed Melissa's boyfriend, Eric. This hit was meant as a message to Melissa. Her time as army commander was over. You might be excused for thinking that this was the cold shower she needed. Perhaps she thought she'd better throw away her gun and return home. But violence is the only language cartel members understand.
Yeah?
Now, Melissa was now certain she wanted blood for blood. She rallied 300 cartel soldiers to her side and started a new cartel, Las Fuerzas, together with her brand new boyfriend, Hector Pedro Camareno Gomez. He called himself El Chino to go hand in hand with La China, but even El Chino would find his girlfriend too violent. Imagine if La China was a violent, bloodthirsty commander during peaceful war times. How was she after a waged war against a Muslim?
Yeah, she probably was
Every
outside
turf
doing
war
anything.
would result in a massacre. And as the police were now on her tail, she would keep moving from town to town. One day, she sent one of her Sicarios to get a new car for another journey. He arranged for a couple of vendors to deliver the car to Melissa. When they did, she killed them just to avoid paying for the car. The Sicario was shocked and threatened La China to go to the police. That's when she cut off his forearms, shot him in the head, and buried him in her usual mass grave. This was her own man. El Chino saw this, and he couldn't take her violence anymore. Imagine being too violent for a
I know
cartel
he
member.
ran.
El Chino fled and ran straight to the police. Only they could give him protection against La China and her bloody cartel. And since he wanted to stay alive, he also tipped the police about Melissa's location. On September 20th, 2015, La China was arrested at the Cabo San Lucas International Airport. She was just trying to flee the state. She will spend the rest of her life in prison. This is La Jefe.
I ain't got nothing to say about old girl, man. We gonna just go ahead and go with La Jefe. Old girl was on demon time, man. I think she may have been the worst of them all. But let's see what La Jefe is about. Let's get it.
La Jefe means the boss. And for the Mexican cartel world, it really seems like Enadina Arellano Fili is the boss. Enadina was born on April 12, 1961 in Sinaloa, into a family of traffickers. And perhaps unsurprisingly, her relatives became her role models. Enadina's older brother worked for their uncle, notorious drug lord and Guadalajara cartel boss, Miguel
Godfather.
Angel Fili Gallardo. Enadina got a bachelor's degree in accounting, but she didn't use this to exit the cartel life. In fact, she used it to their advantage. Enadina advised her 6 brothers and helped them with money laundering as the Tijuana cartel's financial advisor. But in 1989, the Guadalajara cartel was destroyed and most of its members were arrested or killed. So a few positions of power were up for grabs. Anita started a heated relationship with Armando Lopez, who was very close friends with El Chapo. But 2 of Enadina's older brothers assassinated Armando, as they didn't agree with their relationship. Yeah, that's what you do
Damn.
if you don't like your sister's boyfriend.
Yeah.
But this only
Absolutely in the
motivated
wrong.
Enadina to rise to the top of the cartel and show her brothers who's boss. So when El Chuy, the cartel's financial boss, died in 2000, she took over his position. Eventually, she did gain the upper hand over her brothers. One of them, Eduardo, was arrested in 2008. This is when she became the leader of the Tijuana cartel. But Enadina, or La Jefe, is very different from all the women we discussed today. She very much embodies Zainab Salvi's quote, which is pretty strange for a cartel boss. Since the 1990s, Enadina has been known for her rational, methodical approaches to business and for her peaceful negotiations. She never swears, and she never orders assassinations, and her focus is on bribes and the illegal substance trade. Sure, she's not exactly a saint, but her quiet, discreet approach has saved her skin and her sons all these years. She remains in the shadows, and she's not a priority for the DEA or the Mexican authorities, even though she is La Jefe and leads one of the biggest Mexican cartels to this day. Let us know what you think about these cases down in the comments section. And
You already said
before you
to the
go,
button.
make
Like
sure
the
you hit
video.
that thumbs up
Hey,
and
go check out
subscribe
his
for
channel.
more.
Subscribe to his
Till
channel.
next time.
Dropping some real great content, man. Hey, man, La Jefe, man, that's crazy, man. That's old girl from Netflix. Queen in the South, man. You ain't never seen the TV series, man. Go check it out, man. It's a great TV series, bro. Interesting as fuck, man. He talked about everything. Everything he just said about old girl. Her name is Enadina or some shit like that. Feli. I can't really pronounce it. Shit, the most I can say is Dtae, and then I can say Dinero, motherfucker. I mean, no Dinero, but still though. Hey man, go check out the TV series, man, because I'm telling you, man, the girl he was just talking about, Enadina, right now, is the same character out of that motherfucking TV series, and make me feel like they made that based off of her, man. She's still running the damn show, and the girl was still running the damn show. She didn't do bribes. I mean, all she did was bribes and focus on the drugs, like, and get the money. She wasn't really into, like, the bloodshed in the TV series, and her name was La Jefe. Man, it gotta be her, man. It gotta be her, man. Drop some in the comments, but it's your boy DtaeNoDinero, man. We out. Silly butt. Let's get it.